Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Jay, and this week's video is a special one. Recently I was helping my mother move house for the first time since we moved to her old house as a teenager. And at the time, a lot of my childhood stuff was boxed up and moved with me. But as a 17-year-old, I didn't really care about any of my old things. Frankly, didn't understand why they'd been kept. Fast forward to now, at the age of just gone 40, and I'm really grateful that my mum kept a lot of the things that she did. And what I wanted to do was just show you some of the things that came out of the loft. A lot of this stuff is video game related, so if you're here for gaming content, stick with me. There's some really good stuff here. But there's also some more unusual, just retro, nostalgic things from the 80s and 90s, from my childhood specifically, but I'm sure if you're of a similar age or interested in this stuff, it will resonate with you too. So let's get into the video. I'll show you some of this content and I'll share some of my memories as we go. Let's spin the logo and let's get started. So, first of all, let's get into a bit of B-roll and show you some of the action figures that I pulled down from my loft. Amongst other things as a kid, I used to like Action Man. Doesn't really exist anymore, not a thing. But I found a whole box full of near mint Action Man figures from my youth. I'll show you a few on screen. I've brought them back to my house and my little boy is already enamoured with them. Fantastic fun for the kids. Maybe a little bit gun heavy. Didn't realise that when I was a child. We just know more now, don't we? But still, fantastic toys and a lot of fun to play with. I also found another box of my old Marvel X-Men figures, so some really obscure characters in this one, as well as a few well-known faces, and they've been added to the collection of the ones that had already come back from my mum's a few years ago that, again, my son just loves. I also found a few Batman figures. Now, I'm not famously a DC fan, but as a kid I did like a bit of Batman, especially in the old Michael Keaton Batman movies and Val Kilmer, and then who do we have? George Clooney. We don't talk about that one. But I have some excellent figures that he really got into. He's already loving this helicopter, showing you all these on screen now as I'm talking. The cars. I used to have the Batwing. In fact, I won the Batwing in a drawing competition. If I've got a picture of that newspaper clipping with my embarrassing side bowl haircut, I'll share it. If not, then you'll have to just imagine it. But as a kid, I entered a drawing competition and won that Batwing, which was really exciting. So yeah, first of all, action figures, lots of them. I also found my old Turtles wagon, a bit beaten up, the roof's gone, the side door's gone, but it doesn't matter, my son loves it anyway. And my original Turtles. So we found all four of the Turtles, Shredder, a Splinter, we had a Baxter Stockman, a Krang, just the head in a jar on legs rather than the full mech Krang. And like some sort of rock soldier as well, whose name escapes me. But my son has really got into the Turtles thanks to my Turtles arcade cabinet and playing through Turtles in Time. So a lot of these characters are really familiar to him. So that was also great fun to share those with him. It's been really nice, kind of heartwarming actually, to see my son playing with these things that I used to love as a kid. So fantastic bit of nostalgia there that is now being passed on to the next generation. So let's then get into something else that's a very retro, and there's a little bit of gaming overlap here, which is VHS. So I found this whole box of dusty old VHS, and I got very excited because my first thought went back to an old Jurassic Park VHS that I had as a kid, which was a fossil pack. I don't even know if they make them, well, they certainly don't make them anymore, but I haven't seen them for a long, long time. And basically, I think I got it from Blockbuster or a video rental store at the time. It was a giant VHS case that was meant to look like a rock fossil, and then within the case was, of course, your copy of the original Jurassic Park. I hoped that was going to be in this box. I'm really sorry, it wasn't. If I've been able to find a picture of it, you'll have seen it on screen as to what it looked like. It wasn't in that box, but I did pick up a few VHS that I've taken home and cleaned up. First of all, there were a whole host of wrestling VHS, which again, I'll just do a couple of panning shots of rather than going through all of them. There were probably 10 to 15 of them in total. I used to love me some WWF. I am back into the WWE now, funnily enough, all these years later. But yeah, the retro stuff, in my opinion, is still the best back in the days of Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. I also found, and perhaps we'll cover in an entirely separate video if you're interested, my collection of Hasbro wrestling figures, which are also in the loft. Again, I'll insert a bit of B-roll of some of the ones that I've managed to clean up so far, but there's twice as many as you're seeing in this B-roll that I've yet to get the alcohol wipes on and kind of get all the old marks and stuff off. My intent is to display them, so a future video you may see them kind of over my shoulder here, taking the space of this little shelf, and instead I'm hoping to insert some sort of a cabinet, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so stuff to look forward to there. But back to the VHS. So as well as all the wrestling VHS, I also found a few other ones which I thought were fun. So I picked up Ghostbusters 2 back in the day. It's even got the overnight rental sticker from wherever we bought this from. We did buy it. Obviously, you never took these home with you. £1.50 for overnight rental back in the day for this one.
We're the best. We're the beautiful. We're the only Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters 2, I know it's not one that a lot of people think of particularly fondly. I always really liked it. I love me some Ghostbusters, and it's going to go up on the shelf. No, wrong finger. I'm looking at the mirror, trying to mirror myself. It's going to be over there somewhere next to my Lego Ghostbusters car, which is blurred out. Another movie, which is a childhood favourite of mine. I think this one's getting an entirely unnecessary remake. Just my opinion. But if it's any good, of course, I'll go and see it. And that is Steven Spielberg's The Goonies. Loved this as a child. Just so much fun. Such a great film. A little bit scary, not going to lie. The Fratellis as a kid freaked me out. And the try and blend Chunk's hand, I didn't like that. But yeah, the traps, the exploration, the treasure. Such a great film. And some seriously famous faces in there now as well. Although I will admit, I can't help but Instagram just keeps serving me Corey Feldman doing embarrassing music things. Anyway, Goonies, really great film. I probably won't watch it on the VHS. I do have my old VHS player, and I watched a couple of the wrestling videos the other night while I was cleaning the wrestling figures. But maybe I will. Maybe I'll put it on the old TV and really relive the olden days and enjoy this that way. But of course, you can get this on streaming services. I'm pretty sure it's on Disney Plus. And as I said, an unnecessary sequel is in the works with a lot of the original cast coming back. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested. One here for the Brits among my viewers, and that is Gladiators. Now, they've brought this back very recently, and I must say the new series is excellent, far better than the trash that Sky One made a couple of decades ago. But yeah, I loved Gladiators back in the day, as did many, many, many Brits. Back when we had Wolf and Jet and Shadow and Warrior, amongst others. I've got a little collection video here. It says it is 100 minutes of action into the arena. There's apparently a free double-sided Gladiator poster in there. I don't think it is still in there, unless it's the sleeve. And it's basically a collection of the footage from, I think it's probably the first season, because it looks like the most original cast of Gladiators. But one to look forward to, and again, one I'll stick on in the background when I'm doing other things in and around the office. Then there were a couple which are video game adjacent, and we're getting into gaming now. So the first one is the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. This was a cartoon back in the day that I used to watch, and I obviously own the video, or a video of it. 40 minutes running time, so not long. It says here, Mario and Luigi are two wacky Italian plumbers who, while fixing a blocked drain, get washed through a warp zone into a magical land populated entirely by mushroom people. And then it goes on and on and on, and it looks like there's 3 episodes of the show on this. So again, I just picked it up because it was in the box, and I thought, I'll take that home, I'll give it a clean up, and it's come up really nice. Just a fun thing to put on the shelf with the other nostalgic Mario things that I've got. And then, keeping on the theme of Mario, I don't remember this, but I obviously owned it as a child, which is the Super Mario All-Stars video. I did think, oh, I bet that's got some value. It doesn't. On eBay, they're going for like £5 or £10. But I think it was some sort of promotional content back in the day. All I remember of Mario 3, to be perfectly honest, is The Wizard, the movie The Wizard. I love that film. And that to me was just one big Nintendo advert. But mostly Super Mario All-Stars, I think this came with my Super Nintendo back in the day. Our second Super Nintendo, we were burgled as kids, and the first one got stolen, unfortunately, but our replacement one came with Super Mario All-Stars bundled, which was great, and I loved the Mario games. So this one says here it's got exclusive hints and tips on all 4 games in Mario All-Stars, including the mind-numbingly difficult Lost levels, plus a visit to the Gremlin software house to see exactly how the amazing Nigel Mansell's World Championship game was created. And it says the Nintendo Hotliners will give you some invaluable tips on Mario All-Stars. Who remembers the Nintendo Hotline? That's That's definitely one from the past. So there we go, Super Mario All-Stars video. That's all the VHS, and we are getting onto games now. And I'm going to save the big box stuff till the end. But I've got here a few big box PC games that I wanted to cover off. Because again, I wasn't a big PC game player. But to me, what PC was really good at, which console could never do, was, or do well, was the real-time strategy, the sort of point and click. Take your soldiers across the battlefield, and I had a few games in the series that you'll probably all remember. First of all, the original Command and Conquer. Bloody love this game, and its sequels. I played a lot of this as a kid. Probably not Command and Conquer 1 as much as the ones that came after. Red Alert and Tiberian Sun I put more hours into, I suspect. But Command and Conquer the original, this is boxed with manual and the disc. I don't think it's worth anything. To be honest, this is something that will probably go in my loft for a little while until I've got more space to display. Some of these big boxes, they do take up a lot of room, but the artwork for me is memorable. It takes me back to a time that I am very fond of, so I definitely will display it at some point. As I said then, we will stick with Command and Conquer for a moment, and we've got Red Alert, again, also boxed manual, the works here, which was great to find. I did play Red Alert probably the most. And it has a brilliant acting turn from Tim Curry in it, if you've never seen it.
Commander, you've rained on my glorious parade. For this, I'm sending everything I've got at you. But I won't let you have the satisfaction of catching me. I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
He entirely hammers up the comedic the video content in here, but it's really funny. It's really funny to read the back of these boxes. So it says here, Super VGA graphics intensify realism and excitement. Windows 95 required. So yeah, pretty sure that's useless. Can't be played these days without some sort of retro PC build. But of course, you've got the remasters of these games as well, which are available now on Steam, and I think I had them through Xbox Game Pass for PC. And gave them a little go. Still really hard. I don't remember them being as hard as they were. Obviously, I just had more patience as a kid. And then the last one, which unfortunately is only boxed, couldn't find the disc. So it could well be in another box somewhere in their house, but that is Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun. This was the third, at least in the series. The most advanced. Again, lots of hours went into this one. Probably not as many as Red Alert, because by then I think I was getting a bit bored of the formula. Trying other things, but still a great game. And I think was it this game or no, Red Alert I think introduced the Tesla coil to me, which I've been playing a lot of Helldivers 2 on PS5 recently, and the Tesla coil in that, just chaos with your teammates. If you play Helldivers, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, Tesla coils, skyrockets, and all the good stuff that came with Command and Conquer. Another one where I only found the box, but I've kept it in case I find the discs. And this is another game that's been remastered recently as a collection, and that is the first in the Commandos series, Commandos Behind Enemy Lines. Another kind of tactical, move your armies around. This one was a little stealthier, also I think more difficult, because you didn't control sort of regenerative armies that you could just kind of build more forces for. In this one, you had a set of commandos, and they were the guys you had to keep alive as a team. Again, cool artwork on the back of the box. I'll try and get it to focus on that, and I'll crop in when I do the edit, but you can see just, yeah, really nostalgic stuff there. And big box PC is just fun. And then the last one is a film that I am incredibly fond of, and it's there's a number of games actually of this movie franchise, but to me this was the best one. Again, it follows the formula, and that is Small Soldiers Squad Commander. So this was very similar in many respects to kind of the Command and Conquers and your Commandos. You would move your forces around the map. If I can find some gameplay footage, of course I'll insert it, but in case I can't, here's the box art. I just love this movie. I love the graphics, I love the characters. I would love to own a proper good quality full-size Commander Chip Hazard.
Soldiers, no poor sap ever won a war by dying for his country. He won it by being all that he can be. But
they go for crazy money. So if you know anyone who's selling one and they've got it at a decent price, then let me know, because I'd love to pick one up. They're certainly very expensive in the UK. I don't know if they're any cheaper to my US friends. If you have access to them, then let me know. But this was a great game. Again, I've got the whole thing here, the disc, the manual, and the big box. And more than anything, I just wanted to display that on a shelf, because I just think the visuals of Small Soldiers is pretty ace. So those are the big box. There were 2 other PC games that I kept. I have a little Simpsons shelf, which if anyone's interested in a room tour, by the way, I've never done one, but let me know. There's a lot that you kind of don't see in great detail from wherever I shoot in this room. If you ever want to see a proper room tour, it'd probably take a little bit longer than a normal video in terms of watching time, but let me know in the comments and I'll do it if that's something you want to see. So 2 Simpsons games here. I'll hold them both at the same time. So first of all, on the right here, we've got the virtual Springfield. So the idea of this was that you could move around Springfield, and it was like a 3D representation. I don't think it was a particularly game orientated. It was more of a kind of experience. Windows 95 or Power Mac CD-ROM. So again, probably unusable now, but great kind of artwork on the box there. I wanted it for my Simpsons shelf. And then this one I did spend a hell of a lot of time on, actually more so than the Springfield tour, which was the Cartoon Studio. And this basically allowed you to pull together assets from the show and make your own little mini cartoons. Now, they weren't very long in reality, and they were very limited in terms of what you could do with it. But back then, Windows 95, you know, a lot of fun on this. Again, if I can find some footage to insert over the top while I'm talking, I will. Otherwise, you'll have to just enjoy the box art there. But brought those back really for display purposes, so they will go on a shelf, and they're just, you know, great memories really for me. And now we get into the really exciting stuff, at least from a collector's perspective. And when I was at my mum's cleaning the loft the first time around, a few years ago, I tidied up my own belongings. I found a few old video game boxes. I found my Sega Saturn box, which I haven't had chance or room to display. My original PS2 box, which I still think is stunning, just that bold blue with the PS2 logo on it. And a few other game boxes. But there were some consoles that we owned when I was younger, even younger, that I didn't even realise we kept. And they were tucked away in a different part of the loft. I discovered those as part of this move, and I brought them back and cleaned them up, and I wanted to share them with you. And there were 3 in total. Now, again, it is only cardboard for the most part, with one exception. But you'll know if you're a collector that having the box it makes a difference, especially from a value point of view. And although I've got no intention of selling these, it means more to me to kind of own them that way. So let's start with the first one. And this is the box from my original Mega Drive, the one that is plugged in behind me and still working to this day. It was our Mega Drive 2. And this is its original box. It's a little bit beaten up, not going to lie. But you can see the condition actually isn't too bad. No manuals, unfortunately, no paperwork inside this one, just the box and some of the insert cardboard. But you can see some of the games back here that were advertised. Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2, we've got Lemmings, Grand Slam, Joe Montana 93, Jungle Strike, Batman Returns, and then it goes on, Streets of Rage, Sonic 2, and more. But a really nice box. Again, I don't have as big an attachment to Sega from my childhood as I do Nintendo. Nintendo played a much bigger part, and then it went on to PlayStation for me. But this one, back when we bought it, was considered the Aladdin pack that's hand scribbled on there. And I do remember having the Aladdin game. I don't know if there was an Aladdin pack though, whether this was just sold in the store that this was bought from with a copy of Aladdin. But cool to have anyway. It will be going on display at some point, probably up in the back here. Above my new kind of digital wall, which I hope is not too distracting and you're enjoying the colours. If you don't like it, then let me know in the comments, but I hope that's not the case because it wasn't cheap and took me loads of time to put it up. So, Mega Drive 2. Now then, I did kind of hope that we were going to find my Super Nintendo box, the one that would have, you know, accompanied that All-Stars video. We didn't, at least not yet. But we did get one Nintendo cardboard, and that was my original Nintendo 64. And actually, to me, this is probably more meaningful. I didn't even think about the idea that it might be there. This is probably my favourite console. This and maybe the PS2 in close competition for different reasons. But I have so many fond memories of the N64. I've talked about it or touched on it before in videos. And I mean, just look at the back of that. What kid in the 90s is not going to, you know, be blown away by that? Just look at that. Try and crop in the zooms. I'll get rid of some of that glare if I can. But yeah, I mean, you've just got like Super Mario 64, Blast Corps, which I bought recently and added to the collection. I've never played that one. Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, played that. Mario Kart 64, oh, did I play that. Pilot Wings, I did a little bit. Wasn't too bothered. And then Killer Instinct Gold was one that I was very much anticipating. It didn't really do for me what the SNES one did, but you know, it was decent. And actually Wave Race 64 I recently re-added to my collection. So just a cool box art. I mean, you know, the controller itself is iconic. It's just fantastic. So this one is 100% going on the shelf. This one is, I think, complete. There's certainly some paperwork in there, as well as the styrofoam, keeping it nice and rigid. It's a little bit damaged, as you can see. It's, you know, it's not weathered as well as I would have liked, but you know, considering that it's 30 years old, no, 25 years old at this point, you know, it's not bad going, 25, 30 years old. And then this final one is not just the box, but it is the full console itself. So the PlayStation DualShock. So this was our first entry point as a family into PlayStation. We had the PS1 quite late in its life, so I don't know if this was a kind of first release box. I doubt it was, because we didn't get this kind of right at launch. Although I don't know how I would tell. I'll show you the back in a second. But PlayStation DualSense. Not only did we find the box, but then while I was still thumbing through other boxes and clearing stuff out, we then found the console, our original console, controller, and a couple of other bits that are just off to the side here. I'll show you in a second. All together. So we had, I found, let me just grab it, the multi-tap. Who remembers those? Obviously this was a 2 controller console. Nintendo were coming out competing with them with a 4-player console, and then we got the multi-tap experience, this kind of L-shaped corner bracket piece that would allow you to insert 4 game controllers and 4 memory cards where the game would support it. So I found that. Again, you can see from the condition, very, very good condition. I found a slightly yellowed third-party PS1 controller. Obviously, having a brother, we always used to have a need for a second pad, but we very rarely had 2 of the first-party pads because they were pricey things. The colour of this one yellowed slightly. The console in here, which I'll try and insert some B-roll of, I'll take it back out the box and do some B-roll, is in excellent condition though. As is the controller. Almost looks brand new. Now we look after all our stuff, we always have, but yeah, real treasure to find that. I've got a more beaten up PS1 over there, which I got second hand a few years ago, just assuming this was long gone. So I'm going to keep this one boxed. I'm going to keep it in here in good condition, and you know, have it as a complete set. The one thing that is missing, which I do need to pick up, is another set of the original PS1 leads. They weren't in there. The power lead is in there, but the TV leads aren't for some reason. But I've got loads of those, to be honest, from the PS2s that I've got as well, so not an issue. And that's it really. But I think what was just really special to me about the whole process and this discovery was just going through these things that I loved as a kid, that I honestly assumed had just been sold or thrown away or passed off to charity over the years. So to discover so much of this stuff in my loft, or my mother's loft, and to get the chance to kind of remember those experiences again has just been a really, really special experience. There's obviously stuff there that I can add to my collection now as I've gotten back into this stuff and I'm older. That's really good as well. Having my kids enjoy the toys, my son especially, but my daughter also found Action Man fascinating, especially his chest. He's much more muscular than any of the Kens that we've got for her Barbie collection. So yeah, it's been really, really great to see. Hopefully, if you're of a similar age and you've just been watching some of this stuff, maybe some of that's brought back memories for you, giving you the warm and fuzzy feeling that this nostalgia stuff does. And it's what it's all about, isn't it? It's why those of us that collect. It's to bring back those memories, and to enjoy easier times and times where we were less stressed, less burdened with life responsibilities than we lived in. Perhaps this is the old man in me talking, a slightly easier world to exist in. You know, our kids have got it way harder than I think I ever had it, that's for sure. Anyway, let's not leave it on a negative. Let's leave it with those positive memories. Really fantastic finds. If anything else appears through the latter stages of their move, because there are a few boxes that they're still going through, I'll do an update video and I'll let you know. I doubt I'll find anything quite as special, at least to me, as those boxes. Those were the big ones for me. The Nintendo 64 specifically really did strike a chord, so I hope it did for you too. Thanks for watching. As always, please do get involved in the comments below. Let me know if any of this stuff brought back memories for you. Have I got any of my facts wrong there? I don't know, maybe I have. This is only based on my memories. Subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help with the channel's growth. Trying to reach that 500 subs number. Probably not this year now. I think it's looking unrealistic, but maybe sometime in the new year we'll get there. And then we can start to do some really interesting stuff from a community point of view when that unlocks some of those features for me on the channel. But for now, I'll leave it right there and I'll see you in the next video.